الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. All praise and glory to Allah and peace and blessing of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All the Anbiya Shuhada Salihin. It is joy and a desire, a wish that Allah has granted us. We have khatamd al Quran. Took us 2 Ramadans, 2 months. But it was, I'm sure from what I see the response, that I think all of us have benefited somehow. And I'm sure that all of us can say, that Allah, thank you. That some of our heart has been crumbled a bit. A lot more needs to crumble. And if we have crumbled a bit, then a great job has been done for us. And we are grateful to Allah for this opportunity. And before we just start with our last surahs, which again is so hard, there's so many surahs, I'll try and run through it. But, a thanks to the Ufas, Arshad, Yusuf, Nazim, when we started 2 years ago, I remember K.S. Karbai telling me, he phones me the day before, he said, come, I'm not sure. All my life I've been at TMS. I said, no, come in, But I didn't tell him how scared I was that night, because Arshad and Yusuf, we did Qurbani together, and I said, they might not just rock up, these guys, man. They might come late, They might leave early. Astaghfirullah. But alhamdulillah, it's, for me the fear, remember, I've been mentioning this to friends and when I was at the school, the committee. This idea of 8 rakats of English struck me about 20 years ago when I was still at the school teaching here. It made so much sense. I said, I'm sure people will love it. I spoke to the committee guys and I said, let's do this 8 rakats. People are not ready for it. You can't just go and do this. Alhamdulillah, I did it 8 rakats. What I did here tonight with you for the past 2 years, I've been doing in Itralang and Attrishville for the past 3-4 years. Not so well prepared. But I used to go 8 rakats and I used to do tafsir whatever. It was so good. So, we thank Allah abundantly. We thank you all for coming. We thank the Ufas. And I must say, all your words, let me tell you, you don't realize how important are your words. Because when you're trying to teach Quran or you're teaching Islam, especially for us who are not the qualified people, we're scared to speak, we're scared to displease Allah, we're scared to misguide people. So your words give us confidence. Alhamdulillah. Things that I was scared to say maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, I have the courage to say it because you guys have given me that courage, that strength. That iman, you've strengthened my iman. Your words for me have strengthened my iman. And I hope my words have strengthened your iman. Inshallah. Okay, so we've got a bit of work to cover, so we can't spend more time on that. We start off with Surah Qiyamah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا أقسم بيوم القيامة. Nay, I swear by the day of resurrection, and nay, I swear by the reproaching self. Nafs al-Lawama. This can take a few days for Nafs al-Lawama. Does man think that we shall not assemble his bones? أيحسب الإنسان أن لن نجمع جمع عظاما. Does man think we can't put his bones back together? Nay. فَلَا قَادِرِينَ عَلَىٰ أَن نُسَوِّيَ بَنَانًا. Yes, we have the power on putting together his fingertips. Why is this so important? We talk of fingerprints. Every human being's fingerprints are unique. You go to the police, they want your fingerprints. Today you have to go and get a visa, they want your fingerprints. That's the way of identification is unique. Allah is saying that not only can I put your bones back together, I can put your fingerprint back together. 1400 years ago, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had told us the uniqueness of fingerprints, which is maybe in the past 100 years it's become such an important methodology in criminology. Okay, so subhanallah, 1400 years ago. We go now to Surah 76. I did mention this before while we were talking one of the nights. We talk of science and the creation of the universe, which is billions of years ago the earth was created. Billions of years ago. Mankind has come onto the earth about, 100,000 years ago? I think it's 100,000 years ago. But billions of years ago, the earth was created and prepared, and it went through its evolutionary phases until it was ready and suitable for us. It took billions of years. Like the scientist says, if we say the Big Bang started on the first second on the first day of January, right? Then we are living in the last few seconds of the calendar. of this universal calendar. That's where we come. And that's why Allah said 1400 years ago, هَلْ أَتَى عَلَى الْإِنسَانِ, has it not passed upon man a period of time when he was not a thing even to be mentioned. لَمْ يَكُنْ شَيْئًا مَذْكُورًا. Indeed, we created man from a mixed sperm drop that we may try him. Then we gave him hearing and sight. Indeed, we guided him to the way whether he be grateful or ungrateful. Allah says, there have been ages, thousands and millions of years ago when you were not even mentioned. The idea of humanity wasn't even mentioned. To understand that, 100 years ago your parents never met, Muslim. You never knew each other. Forget thinking about having a child. What were you at that time? You wouldn't even have thought. You know, a thought is something. A thought is something. But you wouldn't even have thought. Forget a dot, forget an atom. 100 years ago. For billions of years, man wasn't even mentioned. Nobody even knew of man. We came in the last period. And then Allah says, we created you from a sperm drop. We gave you sight. Sami'ahu wa basira. Hearing and sight. We guided you. Hadayna sabila. Imma shakira wa imma kafura. What I said a few times, the opposite of shukr is kufr. There's it, more clearer than the last verse I told you. Shakira wa kafura. You're going to be grateful or ungrateful. When we say, we always say, those are a kafir. They've rejected. No. If you are ungrateful, what are you? Let's not say it. You feel bad. But you're either a shakir or kafir. You choose. What are you? Are you a grateful servant and slave, or are you a kafir? Okay. So now we're going to play and say, try and steal your okay. Sura Infitar, Sura 82. When the heaven splits, the sun and the stars scatters, and when the seas are erupted, and when the graves are turned upside down, a soul shall know what it had sent forward and what it left behind. When the heavens, the previous surah talks of Ila Shamsu Kuwirat, when the sun is folded. These are some of the signs of how the sky will explode and the mountains will be like carded wool. The day of judgment is something that it sounds like an astronomical event in the universe. Something of a commotion that is going to be very shaking, it's going to be a time, let's put it this way, it's going to be a time when all the natural laws we know of things like gravity and what is solid, we've got solid, liquid and gaseous state. The whole physics is going to change on this day, okay? O mankind, Ya ayyuhal insanu, ma gharraka bi rabbikal kareem. Allah asks this question. If when I'm reading, whenever I hear like Sheikh Mustafa, I'm really reading beautiful Quran. When I hear this, Ya ayyuhal insanu, ma gharraka bi rabbikal kareem. There are times when I hear this in Salah, I really do feel like crying, I promise you. It's not just saying it. Why? Allah asks this question. O mankind, what has deceived you about your Lord, who's so noble, who's given you thousands of gifts? What has taken you away from your Lord? What is deceiving you about your Lord? What is taking you away from your Lord? What is taking you away from the remembrance of your Lord? Your Rabbikal Kareem, the one who is so noble, so honorable, who has given you so much. He who had created you, then he fashioned you, then he proportioned you. In whatever form he willed, he put you together. Nay, but you deny the day of rewards and punishments. And indeed, they are above you guardians. Kiraman Katibin. We always hear of Kiraman Katibin. Kiraman Katibin. Who's sitting beside Kiraman, beside Katibin? It's not really like that. It could be wrong. But we always, it's maybe a simplistic way of putting it. But what is this one? Kiraman is a dual form of Kareem. Kiraman, there's two of them. They are both Kiraman, mean they are Kareemun, they are very honorable angels. Katibin mean they are writing down. What are they writing down? They know whatever you do. So he says, what is the matter with you? Ma gharraka bi rabbikal kareem. I created you, and I fashioned you, and I shaped you in such beauty. What has taken you away from me? There are angels sitting and recording everything you say and do. And you're going to be seeing this. Not long. Verse 8. Just trying to... let's go to Surah 87. Let's go to 87. Surah 87. Surah 87. Surah Ala. Surah 87, verse 9 to 15. فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى. فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى. So remind. فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى. It's not a command. It was a command to Rasulullah. But it's a command to me, it's a command to you. You've learned something. What are you going to do? A lot of people are asking me, hey, next week we must get down. Next week we must. Inshallah we will. But you learned something. What's your job now? I must carry on teaching. You learned something, right? Make sure what you learned, you're teaching it to somebody else. You're going home and teaching it to your family or your cousins. Or when you're sitting with your friends around somewhere, at a wedding table, say, hey, I learned this in Ramadan. Hey, that verse I read. Bring it up. فَذَكِّرْ إِنَّ فَعَتِ الذِّكْرَ. It might be that this discussion you are having will save your friend his life. فَذَكِّرْ إِنَّ فَعَتِ الذِّكْرَ. سَيَذَّكَّرُ مَن يَخْشَى. The reminder will be received by him who is khushu, who is humble, who has khushu. And it will be avoided by the rest. He who shall enter in the great fire, then neither dying there nor living. Truly successful is he who purified himself. Famous karat, famous word. God aflaha man tazakka. I'm sure all of us must have heard it now. God aflaha man tazakka. God aflaha, successful. Hayya al falah. In Adhan we are hayya al falah. God aflaha, successful. Man tazakka, he who purifies. وَذَكَرَ اسْمَ رَبِّهِ فَصَلَّى. And he remembered the name of his Lord. فَصَلَّى. So he prayed salah. To purify yourself, to purify your thoughts, to purify your words, to purify your eating. All this is about the self-purification. Okay, we have something called Sufis, right? Sufism is about self-purification. It's one part, one critical part of this. How you purify yourself. Purifying your thoughts, purifying your habits, purifying your actions, and focusing on purifying your thoughts and your heart of jealousy, of hatred, of all these things. And you know what? I think there's I can't remember the story about, let's not put it, just in a simple terms. Your heart has this, you get jealous for someone, or you get angry with someone, or whatever that emotion that comes and grips onto you. How do you purify? By resisting the action, by resisting the word. We always ask this question. I get upset with somebody, I want to swear him, and I resist it. That's how I purify. I learn to control what's driving me forward into a wrong abyss. Okay, that's Surah 87. Let's go to Surah 90. I'm actually skipping what I know. It's Surah Balad. Surah Balad, this is a set of verses that I want you to listen to carefully. Listen to it carefully. And before we come to the end of the set of verses, I want you to think, if I say, if you study for 6 years, then you become a doctor. In this case, what does the then stand for? Then is a qualification statement to say, you've got to finish something before you can get to the next step. Then is almost, if something needs to be qualified, then it happens. Am I right? Now, the word then will come just now, and I want you to look carefully at where this word then comes, okay? Okay, let's go. We have indeed created man in hardship. Does he think that no one has power over him? He says, يَقُولُ أَهْلَكْتُ مَالَ اللُّبَدَى. He says, wealth I have squandered, I have spent so much of money. Does he think that no one will have power over him? He says, I have squandered heaps of wealth. Does he think that no one has seen him? Have we not made for him 2 eyes? Listen to him, this is very brief. أَلَمْ نَجْعَلْ لَهُ عَيْنَيْنِ وَلِسَانًا وَشَفَتَيْنِ. Have we not made for him 2 eyes and a tongue and 2 lips. وَهَدَيْنَاهُ النَّجْدَيْنِ, and we have shown him the 2 ways. فَلَقَتَحَمَ الْعَقَبَةِ, but he has not made effort through the steep path. The steep path. And what do you know? What is the steep path? وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْعَقَبَةِ. It is the freeing of a neck from bondage. فَكُّ رَقَبَةِ. Somebody who was a slave, somebody who's in debt, somebody who's got something that's choking him. Somebody's choking. Sometimes your finances are choking you. Sometimes your wife is choking you. Just joking. But something that's bondage means not only a slave, but something that's really like we are today. Like I said before, we are all in bondage. We can't close our shop for 1 week and we'll go insolvent because we've got to pay the rent. We are under bondage. Okay. So the first thing is of the steep path, freeing the person who is in bondage. Fakku raqaba. Oh, it'amun fi yawmin dhi masghaba. Of feeding on a day of severe hunger. Feeding on a day of severe hunger. We like to feed in Ramadan. But when a poor person is hungry, you must feed him on that day, not in Ramadan. Doesn't mean you mustn't feed in Ramadan. There's more blessings in Ramadan, inshallah. But when a man is hungry and you feed him, that's now you fed him, isn't it? Okay. So freeing the man of bondage, giving the person food, an orphan nearly related, or a needy lying in the dust. Oh, miskinan da matraba. Da matraba, the dust. You know, I always laugh with, we in Interlang so many years, in Artishbal, in the squatter camp so many years. I used to always get Dawood Malek. I said, you don't know squatter camp. You haven't seen dust like we've seen dust. You know, when we used to go to Interlang, one thing that was a key feature of the places where poor people live is what? Is dust. Because they're living on very poor infrastructure. And you'll find that the dust messes all their clothes, and the Russian clothes, their zinc doors, because when a little bit of wind comes, then everything gets messed up in the house. You're living down in the dust. So Allah is talking of freeing the bondage, the person who is in trouble, freeing the person helping the person who's hungry, helping the person who's needy, who's living down in the dust. When you start doing these things, then you can say, ثُمَّ كَانَ مِنَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. What did I say? Then what? Then you can say, I'm a believer. Then you can have a right to say, I have Iman. How can you say you have Iman if you haven't done this? Then you can say, I have Iman. Then he will become, to become. Then he will become of the believers. وَتَوَاسَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. You know we have وَتَوَاسَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ وَتَوَاسَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاسَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. Here is difference. وَتَوَاسَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. Then he will be admitted to the ones of patience. وَتَوَاسَوْا بِالْمَرْحَمَةِ. Then you are admitted among the company of the marhama. Those who give mercy. Who gives the best mercy? Ar-Rahman. How much mercy has he given you? You can't count. You want to be the believer, you must be a person of marhama. You must be a person of mercy. You want his mercy. How can you get his mercy if you are not merciful? How can you get his forgiveness if you do not forgive? How can you call yourself a believer if a neighbor goes hungry? What the Prophet Muhammad says? He says you cannot be a believer while your neighbor goes hungry. I remember this, and this verse is really, I remember I used to give a lift when I was staying in Rasmia to some children in our school. Father was from Malawi, and so I used to say, I'll pick you up. They were living on a farm somewhere. I'll pick up the 2-3 kids and bring them to school every day. And the one day, the elder son, I said, why do you look so sad? Why do you look so sad today? And he says, what, we didn't eat for the past 2 days. I said, what? No, you know what, my father, his job didn't come right. He gave me stories and this and that. And he just didn't have enough money, didn't have enough food for 2 days. And he was staying on a farm in Rasmia somewhere. I had to pick them up, they used to take a walk and I had to pick them up. And it struck me, Alhamdulillah, I tried to resolve the problem, tried to help the family. But for that 2 nights, who was a believer in Rasmia? But by the saying of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that you can't be a believer while your neighbor is hungry. Who was a man of faith? There was not one believer if somebody went hungry. We spoke about Farad Ain and Farad Kifaya. It became fard for that guy to get food for you to be called a believer. So we should take care of the poor and the needy. Like I said, look, we have, inshallah, after Ramadan, we'll talk about many ideas of empowerment, not just feeding, but feeding means empowerment. So inshallah, we'll talk about it because for too long, we are sitting in a situation where there's such an imbalance. It doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be like that. We can lift it up. We can lift it up. We have the power. I was just telling a friend the other day, I said, you know what? There's so many beggars that come there by us in Lut Street, you know. I said, and you know this, I was telling you, Iterlang, I got so frustrated. So many headaches. I finally said, Dawood, you know, you take over the project. Alhamdulillah, he's trying his best. He's doing well in Iterlang. He's doing a decent job. He's trying all on his own. But I said, you know what? I got frustrated because I couldn't get one guy right. A mosque I can build. The masjid is full, alhamdulillah. I said, I couldn't get one. He said, what do you mean? I said, what's wrong with our ummah? Can't we just take one guy and empower that guy? We've seen, I have a few examples of empowerment. But what is it? We've got a community of intellectuals, wealth in abundance, and we can't take one guy who's down in the dust and say, put you on the next level. We battle to do that, really. And inshallah, after Ramadan, we must talk about it. Instead of, repeating the whole scenario of giving charity in a manner that doesn't help, you can really take a guy and say, right, let's sit together. You know what? Our project this year is not as much. Our project is Muhammad. He's staying in, let's take him, right, bang, what are we going to do with him? Empower him. Once problem solved. That's our project for the next 3 months. I'm just giving you ideas. I could be totally wrong. But really, what kind of a community we are, where we, I went, like I said, I went to the down shops the other day. I used to have the factory in Lodium. And those guys on the street, I used to always joke with them. They say, Mudimu Matla, God is great. And they laugh at me. I give them money and they should joke. And I went the other day, and since we moved to town, I haven't been in Lodium for a long time. Maybe 4 or 5 years. They say, yeah, Papa, how's it? They know me. They say, Papa, where have you been? I say, you're still here. And you don't even look like you aged. He said, Papa, we need to get food home. They need money at home, so we have to be here. There's been no progress for this guy. But how do we expect him to progress? What was I thinking? He's going to hit the luxury. Maybe somebody is going to give him $50 or give him $500. What the difference is going to make in his life? So yes, inshallah, this thing for us to be believers, we need to do something about poverty. We need to do something about those in bondage. Let's work together, inshallah, after Ramadan, get together and come up with socio-economic solutions, inshallah. Surah Duha, verse Surah 93. These are common surahs now we come to. And that's why I want to skip a couple of surahs because these are what Duha. By the morning brightness and the night when it covers the darkness. Your Lord has not forsaken you, nor is He displeased. And indeed, the hereafter is better for you than the present life of this world. Allah says, tells Muhammad sallallahu directly, مَا وَدَّعَكَ رَبُّكَ وَمَا قَلَى. Your Lord is not forsaken you. He's not displeased with you. You must remember the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he went through a really tough time to bring this Quran over 23 years. When Iqra came, the first verses came, Nun wal Qalami came, different surahs came. There were times when he had to wait for verses. Sometimes he had to wait some months before the next verses came. And in those periods, like I said, when you were honoring my words, you're giving me the strength and the courage. So he was in that situation. Now he's waiting for verses because this is his lifeline. He has nothing else but these verses that can drive him forward. And there was a time where verses would come and then they won't come. They would come and they won't come. And there were times when he would become really worried. Have I displeased my Lord? Have I done something wrong? We can see how he's so fearful of his Lord. I says, relax. Allah is not upset with you. Nor is He displeased with you. And indeed, the hereafter is better for you than the present. And your Lord shall soon give you much you will be well pleased with. Soon, Allah says. It's 13 years at Makkah of very little success. You know, I mean, what is it? I think in the whole of Makkah, how many followers do they have? I think about 100. Am I right? In Makkah, if I'm not mistaken, in all his years in Makkah, in 10 years, he had about 100 followers. Do you know that? Something like that. When he went to Medina, you know, it's like that curve. What do they call that curve that goes like this? What do they call it? No, bell curve? I don't know if that's bell curve. There's Appa said the message. It flew. But at that point, it's so hard. You know the struggle, all of us. 10 years. 10 years before you can say, okay, I'm getting to the Quran. Everything takes time. And the Prophet ﷺ was finding it tough. But then Allah tells him in verse 6, did he not find you an orphan? Then he sheltered you. Look at the life of the Prophet ﷺ. It's such a miracle itself. He was an orphan. His father died before he was born. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. His mother died when he was 6. His grandfather died when he was 8. Everyone who was looking after him died. His father's gone, mother's gone, grandfather's gone. He goes to Abu Talib. Look at it. Allah says, we found you an orphan and we sheltered you. And we found you lost. وَوَجَدَكَ ضَالًا فَهَدَى. The Prophet himself was lost. He was dalan. At the stage he was, going up to the cave of Hira. He didn't know what's the solution. He didn't know what was wahi. He didn't know what was revelation. And Allah said, and we guided you. وَوَجَدَكَ عَائِلًا فَأَغْنَى. We found you poor فَأَغْنَى. He married Khadija radiallahu anha. And he's from being poor, he was in a wealthy family all of a sudden. And he found you poor and he enriched you. So you know what so means is like then. Recognize all this, O Muhammad. Recognize this, all of you people. Recognize that Allah took you out. Many of us have come struggling from a poor background to a higher background. So, if you can recognize Allah's favors upon you, so as for the orphan, do not be harsh. And for the beggar, do not repel. وَأَمَّا السَّائِلَ فَلَا تَنْحَرْ. And as for the bounty of your Lord, do proclaim. It's important, the way we treat orphans, street kids, don't take it lightly. I know they can be very irritating. Especially the street kids, You blame them for every theft that happens in the center of Lodi. Maybe they are, I don't know. But treat them as a human being. You're a human, they're a human. Allah has been merciful to you. You must be marhama. It's important. Very important. To treat orphans. Street kids are generally orphans. They don't have a father. Or maybe they don't have a mother. Or maybe they don't have both. Maybe they're staying with their grandmother. I'm sure if you speak to those street kids, and if you don't want to give them, don't give them. If you think they're a menace, don't give them. But don't shout. Don't swear. Don't be abusive to an orphan. That is something that is heinous in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Surah 94. We're going to get into it. Alam Nashrah, famous verse. فَإِنَّمَا الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا. Have we not opened up your breast for you, and we removed from you your burden, which had weighed down on your back, and we exalted for you your renown. وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرًا. Even the songs of it. وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرًا. Look at Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, an orphan. Today there's 1 billion people making salawat on him. 10 times a day is 10 billion salawats. I don't know how many. Per day. Who was he? An orphan. Allah had guided him. He had no father. Then he had no mother. Then he had no grandfather. And look at the honor Allah has given him. You know what Allah can do for anyone? When if you strive in the path of Allah, your legacy will be so strong. I don't know about you guys. I know my grandfather. I know my great-grandfather's name. Beyond that, I don't know nothing. There's no name. There are some names Allah keeps. Ajrul. It's a name. Osman bin Ghazi. Allah wanted his name to go up. He must have done something good. Okay. So we see that Allah had honored the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So indeed, along with hardship, there is ease. إِنَّمَا الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا. Now remember, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, before He told us all this, who is He telling this to? Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You know how He suffered. We don't understand. We should love Him more. Why? Because we don't know what the troubles He went through. Such troubles He went through for us to have this Quran. For us to have this Islam. For Him, this verse is like, come on, relax. Relax. Every difficulty has its ease. Every difficulty will go. Every season. There is a season, there's winter, and then you're freezing. and then there's summer, and then there's dryness, and then everything becomes wet. So have that patience. So Allah says, so when you have finished your duties, then stand up, okay, and to your Lord turn your attention. It talks of a void. I think Yusuf Ali calls it a void. فَإِذَا فَرَغْتَ, when you have finished your common duties, when you are free with your immediate task, fansab, still work hard. What does this mean? Sometimes you come home and say, hey, I'm tired, I had a lucky day, or so busy, and you say, pop my legs up on the TV there, oh, it's Cricket World Cup, relax. That's Allah is saying, don't do that. When you finish your whole day's work, I got some work for you to do as well. But I created you. So please, go and read your Quran. Give 10 minutes of Quran. Go and pray your Salah. Go and open up an encyclopedia. Go find out about the stars. Fun sub. Still carry on. Don't let your life be ruined by a stagnation. It was Surah 94 and 96. This will be challenging. Okay. Surah Alaq, we have to talk about Surah Alaq. The first verses is revealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I think we hear this, I like to speak about this every big night. Iqra, the first word. I'm sure you heard it a few times. It's very nice. Don't say it again. The first command to humanity. You'll never forget me saying that. The first command to humanity given to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The first word, the first command wasn't salah, wasn't zakah, wasn't even justice. You can tell that truth. It wasn't even justice. First command was iqra. Read. Read in the name of your Lord who created you from alaq. Iqra wa rabbuka. Read, and your Lord is most akram. Most honorable. Read, and your Lord is most honorable. I think someone is looking for a chair over there. Make room, and Allah will make room for you. There we go. Yeah. Read. Iqra wa rabbuka al-akram. Alladhi allama bil qalam. The one who taught the pen. Man, look at this. I'm telling you, reading and writing, what we call reading and writing, which has become the standard judgment of any country to see how strong a country is. Reading and writing is something that people judge countries by. There's surveys done about reading and writing. 1,400 years ago, the first command, first few verses included reading and writing. Where are we? The first commands of reading and writing. We quick to teach our kids surahs. But reading and writing comes before the surahs, let me tell you. Reading and writing is the foundation of the surahs. Reading and writing is foundation of Qaeda. Reading and writing is foundation of Islam. Reading and writing is the foundation of the deen. This reading and writing came to destroy ignorance. Jahiliyyah. You look at what was happening in Arabia and in the world at that time. It was Jahiliyyah, not only in Arabia. Barbaric people. What was the difference? What this changed? It gave people logic, reason. Logic. Prophet ﷺ says, reason is the root of my religion. We were just talking the other day. Where is reason gone? Who took reason out of religion? Who took the book and the pen out of religion? Why you go to some Muslim countries and the reading and writing has got such a poor ratio of reading and writing in some of our countries. How? Who took it out? We've got to find that guy and beat him up somewhere. Who took out reading and writing? Who took out logic? Where did we must find these guys?
India and Malala.
I won't say that aloud. Yeah, something happened. But doesn't mean we must remain like that. Doesn't mean we must continue that same process. If somebody taught you something to do that was wrong, and you find out how wrong it was, you're going to persist with it. Somebody taught you to drive a car on the right hand side and you were bumping everybody, you didn't know what was wrong. Was driving on the left hand side. You're going to be foolish and make accidents. Doesn't mean that we've seen this. Once we've recognized it's wrong, our children must start with this. Our deen must start with this. Life must begin with iqra, with reading and writing. This is part of the foundation of our deen. And it goes so beautiful. Alladhi allama al-Quran we did in Ar-Rahman. Allama bil qalam. He taught the use of the pen. Taught men which he knew not. Now, verse 6 is also interesting. I always talk in the first 5 verses. Now look at this verse. Nay, indeed man transgresses rebelliously. What Allah says? Kalla innal insana. Nay, this human being la yatgha. He's such a big transgressor. I want you to think of all the things that Allah is talking about here. Transgressor. What do you think he transgressing? Think in your mind. What is it that man has done that's so bad? What did man do that is so bad? Think. Must I give you the answer? Allah gives us the answer. Ar-ra'ahu istaghna. Ar-ra'ahu istaghna. He thinks. Again, he thinks he's independent. He thinks he can handle things himself. I'll do it. I can handle it. I can handle it. You know, men love to say, I can handle it. We'll handle it. No. We'll handle it. We'll handle it, inshallah. That's a big difference. Subtle but very important difference. No man can say I'm aghna. Allahu ghaniyun hamid. Wa antumul fuqara. Ya ayyuhan nas, O mankind, antumul fuqara. You are in need and Allah is ghani. And if you think you are aghna, ghani, aghna. The biggest problem with man is that he really thinks he is self-sufficient. He thinks he can handle it himself. No ways can he do that. We're getting closer to the end. I'm sure you'll see that. We've made our century. I'm sure it's already the striking calamity, Al-Qariya. You know the Al-Qariya is beautiful. Just read. What is the striking calamity? And what do you know what the striking calamity is? The day when people shall be scattered like moths, and the mountains shall be like carded wool. Then he whose scales are heavy, so he shall be in a state of pleasure. And he whose scales are light, so his refuge shall be in the deep pit of hell. And what do you know what that is? A raging fire. Heavy and light, I told you. We do have good and bad, but the bad we can seek forgiveness for. So the actual test on the day of judgment is not good versus bad, but the quantity of good. If you have a lot of good, you go to Jannah. If you got little good, you go to Jannah. It's not good versus bad. It is, in a sense. But how much of good did you do? Did you feed the poor? Did you empower someone? Did you sleep while somebody was hungry? Then that destroys it. Your goodness destroyed it. The good deeds, feeling sorry and pity and empathy is the example of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We spoke about it last night. That empathy, that care, that concern, that is who Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam represents. And that's what Jannah wants from us. Verse 102, Surah 102, these are the last surahs. Try and remember them when you're reading them, if you remember them. Surah Takathur. Alhaakumut Takathur. The mutual rivalry for the worldly increase diverts you until you visit the grave. Nay, you shall soon know. Then nay, you shall soon know. Nay, if you knew with a sure knowledge, you shall surely see hell. Then you shall see it with the certainty of your eyes. Then you shall surely be asked that day about the blessings and in ni'mas, about the favors. You'll be questioned about your favors. If you had 10 rand, you'll have to tell Allah how you spend the 10 rand. If you had 10 million, you're going to have to tell Allah how you spend the 10 million. Al-Hakumut Takathur. Takathur is kathira, many. The rivalry of this, the competition. What is this? Allah told us 1440 years ago what? Be careful of social pressure. Be careful of peer pressure. This is what the surah is talking about. Social and peer pressure. Moreover, it's talking of social pressure. You're driving a car and next the new S-Class comes out. The new iPhone comes out. There's a new light that you put on the kitchen units now. The ladies, they got LED on the kitchen schemes now. They got a new stove where you clap your hands and then it makes your tea for you. The rivalry. We have got, I think there's a book, it's called The God of Material Things. Isn't it something like that? the God of material things. But really, materialism is a God in itself. The amount of money we spend on materialism, you go and take a lot. Click, 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 click. Put in a basket. It's so easy. You take your card, you swipe it. You buy things you don't need. You buy things because your neighbor has it. You know what? And you know when you do things, and this talks about people, nobody says you mustn't buy a new stove when the old one is broken. You know, not. Okay, anyway, you're supposed to have a stove in your house. You're supposed to have a nice car that can drive from here to Durban without getting stuck halfway. No, you want that for safety. You must have these things. There's no doubt about it. But this mutual rivalry, that you buy a thing and you change it so often. For what? For what? How often things change so quickly? Why? Every time you're doing that, what are you doing? You're wasting money. يقول الإنسان ما له أحلقت مال الولد. You know the guy who says, money I blasted. That's the hell mentality. This peer pressure. You know, like now you move maybe from one house to another house, and this house is in an area that's a bit more better. Now you make sure that, you know, your garden is, you know, when you're staying there in Lodium in Emerald Street, your house was a bit mixed up. Now you're moving to Erasmus, you're moving to Claudius. Now I think, you know, you want to show the people, you start, you want to keep up to the, what did they say? Joneses. You want to keep up to the Joneses. The Sura is talking and saying, don't worry about the Joneses. Worry about the Muhammads. Worry about Jannah. And you know, if we can spend another 5 grand on buy a stove, when this one is still perfectly fine because the color is a bit faded, then take that 5 grand and give that guy who was hungry, and all our problems will be solved. For 1 month at least, he won't be hungry, and we'll all be believers for that month. Just that alone. Do you know that? You know, that's 5,000 rand. President Ramaphosa has instituted the minimum wage. And when he said minimum wage of 20 rand an hour, again we Muslims have forgot. We missed out. We should have made minimum wage 20 rand 2 years ago as Muslims. Why? Because give a guy decent living. 20 rand is still too little. We should have done that. We should have looked at the world and say, you know, I'm paying this guy so little. Let me try and pay him a little bit more. End of the year when you look at your income statement, balance, you say, hey, okay, wow, that's good, eh? Phone the travel agent. Why can't you phone HR and say, you know what, give every year 3% increase? I know we got, increases are coming in December. Do it now. I want extra 3% now. We did have a good year. February, financial statements, 3% extra, please. And then the normal increase at the end of the year. Why don't you do that? Why? Because we're greedy. Come on, let's face it. We like money. We like luxury. We capitalist Muslims. We need to remove capitalism from ourselves before we're going to fight capitalism. Now this rivalry will take you to Jannah. Somebody got something better than you, alhamdulillah. As long as yours is working nicely, alhamdulillah. You know the famous verse in the Quran, إِنَّ الْمُبَذِّرِينَ كَانُوا إِخْوَانَ الشَّيَاطِينَ. The spendthrifts are brothers of shaitans. Listen again. If you're using the Yusuf Ali Quran, when we started Tafseer, Halqa or Tafseer, whatever you call it, you know when we started this book, when we started it, 21 years, when I was 21, one of the verses that we will never ever forget is page 702. Go to page 702. إِنَّ الْمُبَذِّرِينَ كَانُوا إِخْوَانَ الشَّيَاطِينَ. We were young, but when that verse touched us, we were scared. Now I bought a new car. You know how scared I am? Really. I'm grateful to Allah, but I'm scared. Really, I have that fear. I say, what is wrong with me? Every time I buy something, I do get scared. My family will tell you. I get scared to buy a new shoe sometimes. Why? How much am I spending? إِنَّ الْمُبَذِّرِينَ كَانُوا إِخْوَانَ الشَّيَاطِينَ. People can interpret it hundreds of different ways, but how I interpret it makes me scared. Maybe you interpret it will make you feel okay. But إِنَّ الْمُبَذِّرِينَ, the Mubazir, the spendthrifts, كَانُوا إِخْوَانَ الشَّيَاطِينَ. They are brothers of the shaitan. And we can't hide away from the reality of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. His words are Al-Haq. That's Surah 102, Surah Asr, Surah 103. Man is in loss. Al-Asr, Inna al-insana lafi khusr. Man is in loss. Allah makes a categoric statement. Allah, why are you doing this? Inna al-insana lafi khusr. That by our very nature, we will fail. Listen again. Surah Asr tells us, by our nature, we are bound to fail. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. Except those who believe and do righteous deeds and advise each other, join together in haqq and join together in sabr. Like Ramadan. This وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْر. You know what it means? It means Ramadan. Because we are all here together. We are all in sabr together. We are all in haqq together. And we're believing and we're doing righteous deeds. By our nature, by our desires. Allah has given us freedom to choose. We have freedom to choose. You know what freedom to choose means? You will fail. We did it first. Allah says, I offer the trust of the heavens. I offer the trust to the what? To the heavens and to the mountains. أردنا الأمانة على السماوات والأرض والجبال فأبين أن يحملنها وأشفقن منها. Allah says, I offer this trust of freedom. I said, oh Sama, do you want it? Oh Jibal, do you want it? فأبين أن يحملن. They said, we don't want it. وأشفقن منها. We're scared of it. وحملها الإنسان. Then said, okay, I'll try it. I'll try it. إنه كان ظلوما جهولا. He is indeed, إنه ظلوما. He's a sinner and jahula. He's the most ignorant of all my creatures I've created. He's jahula, he's jahil. He thinks he can achieve, he thinks he can survive the test of the power of choosing to believe or not to believe. You are destined to fail. Now, إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. So we have to be of those who believe, do righteous deeds, and we have to join together in al-haq and in sabr. Verse Surah 110. We're almost 114. We're almost there. 2 minutes to do for Surah. Surah 1, what did I say? 110. I don't know which one is 110 all of a sudden. Surah Ma'un. We have to touch on Surah Ma'un. Have you seen him who denies the recompense? Well, that he who drives away the offer. The Arabic is simple. فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدُعُّ الْيَتِيمِ. You make dua is, and you call. Du'u means you are calling harshly. It's like a harsh call. It means you're shouting, you're screaming. يَدُعُّ الْيَتِيمِ. He shouts at the orphan. وَلَا يَحُدُّ عَلَى طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ. He doesn't encourage the feeding of the poor. Then woe unto those who pray. فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ. Allah is shouting those who pray salah. Can you believe that? Those who are heedless of their prayer. Those who are good to be seen and withhold small kindnesses. Who won't even help their neighbors. Who won't even help a poor guy. Who won't even give a guy a lift. Guys who just, they don't give of themselves. They are selfish people. They are selfish, self-centered people. They don't care of humanity. And they come in to pray salah. What is wrong with them? Who do they think they're fooling? Who are they showing to? They come into your own. They want to be seen. You can't come and pray if you're not a human being, if you don't care for humanity, if you don't have empathy, if you don't have concern for the poor. How can you come and pray? Doesn't mean you mustn't pray. I can get carried away what I say. But for Muslims, everybody must continue praying, even if you're not doing a lot of good things. But the salah, this obedience and the surrender to Allah makes you part of the dust, part of humanity, and you must be helping the poor. You cannot refuse small kindnesses. You cannot refuse a $5, really. Give more if you can, and try and build somebody. You know this guy, you always see him there. Every day, when you're going to park your car in town, he's the same guy there every day. You can see him for a year. Try and do something for him. I don't know what, really. I don't know what. Do something for him today. 5 years later, he's still there. You're still giving him 5 rand. Inflation, you might give him $7 now. Where did that take you? Where did that take him? And you're praying salah and you're worshipping your Creator, who created all human beings. Surah Ma'un. Surah 112. Let's go. Surah Kawthar. Okay, we'll just bypass that one. I love this surah. Qul ya al-kafirun. I've been reading the surah for 40 years of my life. I think last year I figured out something, the most amazing thing. I didn't email it. Qul ya al-kafirun. Now listen to this. Oh you kafirs. Oh you who reject Allah. Oh you who deny Allah. I want you to listen. A'budu. Arabic students. I do not worship that which you worship. And you know Dawood Malaka, you know I like to say I. I, not we, listen what? As a Muslim, you got no fears. You are the majority of one. I don't worship what all of you worship. And all of you don't worship what I worship. And I am a worshipper. Nor am I a worshipper of what you worship. Nor are you worshippers of that which I worship. Do you your way, to me mine. You know, this is such, you know, if you have to say this out on YouTube or on WhatsApp, you might not get visas again. Because you're bold enough to stand in front of the kuffar and say, I don't worship what you worship, and you don't worship, and to be your way, to hell with you. You're telling America, you're telling London, you're telling China. Who are you? Imagine that. You know, the word I is not allowed really in Islam. You know, I mean, we say we. You don't say I. I is very like proud, you know, isn't it? You say I, you know, I got this. I is one of the most common words in the English language, right? But I is not a good word. Why is I not a good word? It's a word of pride. I. Anna, I am, I. We don't like to use that word. But when we talk to the kuffar, we say I don't care. I don't worship what you worship. Cristiano Ronaldo, I don't care how good you are. I have my Abu Bakr. I have Ali. You don't know who Ali is. I have Atrul and Osman Ghazi. I am proud to be a Muslim, and I believe I can conquer the world. I is not a good word, except when you're standing from Allah. Say, I don't worship what all of you worship. And who's the example of this? Ibrahim alayhi salam. The one, he stood in front of his whole community and he said, I don't worship that things. And you will see what I do to those things that you are worshipping. He is the example of the only I that is most probably acceptable. The boldness of Qul Ya al-Kafirun. Surah Ahad, Tabat Yada, Surah Nasr. Idha Ja. The surahs, Idha Ja. Idha means when. When Allah's help comes in victory. Allah uses the term Idha when almost like it's guaranteed. It's only a matter of time. Idha Ja, it's a famous verse. Surah, it's about the victory when people come to Islam in crowds. And this surah, the beauty of the surah about people coming to Islam in crowds is it starts off with Idha, meaning that it's not if or not, means obvious, it will happen, it's just a matter of time. When the help of Allah comes in victory and people enter the religion in crowd, what must you do? فَسَبِّحْ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّكَ وَاسْتَغْفِرْ. Glorify Allah and seek His forgiveness. When victory comes, we've seen in the history too many too many powers, too many movements that became powerful. They forgot to say thank you to Allah. They forgot to start seeking forgiveness. They became pompous and arrogant, and Allah destroyed them again. When you see the top, you must ensure that you can keep your humility. Surah Ikhlas says Allah Ahad. Ahad is one, simple. The self-sufficient. He begets not, nor he was begotten. He has no family, no children. وَلَمْ يَكُلْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. And there is none like unto him. We've been saying that. We've been seeing that about the stars and the earth and the water. We don't have to go. But now when you say, you know, when I'm reading Surah, I'll tell you, when I'm reading Surah Ahad, whenever I come to وَلَمْ يَكُلْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ, and then I always say in English, and there's none like you. Whether it's allowed in Islam or not, I don't know. But when I'm reading Surah Ahad, when I read that last verse, I always say it in English in my mind. And there's none like you. There's none like you, simple like that. Because I want to remind myself that there's none like Allah. We might go out and meet extraordinary people or things or events, but there's none like Allah. And Surah Falaq and Surah Nas are called the Mu'awwidatayn surahs. When the Prophet ﷺ, when magic was done on him, from what we learned from history, then these two surahs were revealed, okay, to give him protection. But if you look at it, besides that, on a contextual thing, Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq. Say, I seek refuge with the Lord of daybreak. From who? From the evil of that which He created. They are created things. They are people, we want protection from that which Allah created. Created what? Created people, could be a snake, could be a lion. It could be a person who's out to break into your house. These are part of the created things. And from the evil of the darkness when it spreads. Darkness itself carries its own evil. You know, darkness, you know, I mean, how much safer do you feel in the day than at night? At night you can't see things. So darkness itself has its evil. And evil people plot at night. So, وَمِن شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبَ. And from the evil of the blowers on nuts. Okay, blowers on nuts, those who, normally it refers to those who are dealing in magic, maybe trying to get along with the jinn. But even those who are jealous, we talk of blowers of nuts. Hasidin idha hasad, jealousy, envy. This all relates to that type of evils that are social evils filled with jealousy, envy, hatred. These are the type of evils. So we say, Kul Awi Rabbil Falak. We're asking from Rabbil Falak, the Lord of daybreak. Because daybreak represents when all the fears go away. You're in the night, you're scared, and things are going, you hear things on the roof, and you're very crazy. Daybreak is a time when everything is like back, you're back from the dead, you know what I'm saying? But the daybreak. Now, the next surah, this is all about an outside threat, am I right? This is all an outside threat, and we seek protection from Rabbil Falak. When I did Uncle Hassan, Allah grant him peace and Jannah and Muslim, his notes were so beautiful. He said, when you seeking protection from the outside threat, you're calling on one of Allah's names, Rabbil Falak. But when you're seeking protection from the internal threat in yourself, you need more than one name of Allah to help you. Because the internal threat is far greater than the external threat. So we say, Kul, A'udhu, we seek protection, Rabbin Nas, the Lord of mankind. Malikin Nas, the King of mankind. Ilahin Nas, the God of mankind. From what? From the evil of the little whisperer who returns over and over again. Whispers, fi sudurin nas. The challenge within our own self, fi sudurin nas, from our, I always look at sudur as the mind, whichever, heart, mind, whatever it is. But the threat we carry in us is a far greater threat than anything else from outside. We, our greatest enemy. We got to fight ourselves, our desires, our nafs. It is our desires that are a greater threat than anything else. So we call it Rabbin Nas, Malik Nas, Ilahin Nas, to help us to fight those waswas, the bad thoughts that come, the ideas, the whatever shame, whatever concocted plans, money-wise, we've got fraudulent ideas come to us. So many different, our minds are so creative. Let me tell you, Sudur. But all the creativity can give you amazing plans to crook somebody, to hurt somebody, to cheat somebody, to let loose on your desires with somebody. And it can also bring you good. So this fight inside yourself is a far greater threat than anything outside. That's Surah Nas, Alhamdulillah. Now we can say we've Khatam Quran over 2 months, Alhamdulillah. Okay, so it's time up actually, 9:10 already. But I'll just give 2 minutes. If anybody would like to say something, 2 minutes, okay? It's a Monday night, not a Saturday night or Sunday. If anybody would like to say anything before we make the final dua. We got like a kiraj and cheese stuff and all that stuff. Yeah, Alhamdulillah. Tonight's the sweet night. Last night was the laka chow from the chicken people. But tonight is the sweet night because this is the sweetness of Khataming Quran, Alhamdulillah. We have Khatam the Quran officially over 2 Ramadans, Alhamdulillah. And would like to just a minute or two in Muhammad?
Surah 104, can you just go with the interpreter first, please?
Surah 104?
Yeah.
So let's skip 104. Which one is 104? Muhammad, you have to tell me. After Surah Asr. Sorry, what surah is it? Humaza. Humaza. Wailul likulli humaza. Oh, fresh. Feel. Okay, you see, I have to. Okay, here we go. Oh, okay, this is. Actually, I had it here. 104 is here. But as I'm trying to skip to try and finish Khatam, this is a very important one, especially in our times. Wailul likulli humazatil lumaza. Woe to every slanderer and backbiter who gathers wealth and counts it. He thinks that his wealth will make him last forever. Nay, he will surely be thrown into the crushing palace. And what? Do you know what the crushing place is? The fire of Allah kindled, which leaps up over the hearts. Indeed, it will be closed down upon them, stretched forth in columns. I mean, you know what? I can give a tafsir of this, but this is very self-explanatory. Those who slander, those who are involved in, who gathers wealth, jama'a, and counts it, or addada, addada to count. Like, it's always counting. Have you got enough? how much did I get? Hey, I mustn't lose a cent, That doesn't mean you mustn't count. But a man who becomes paranoid about wealth, man who wants to just amass a lot of wealth, and he gets involved in corruption doing this, he thinks his wealth will make him last forever. He becomes so dependent on his wealth is his life. He gives his money for his business, and he has no time for anything for Allah or for his family. Then what happens with this man? Sure. What happens with this man? Allah says, you will be thrown into the fil hutama, the crushing place. Now talks of the fire of Jahannam. Okay? Even when it's business dealings. We talk of the story of Shuaib alayhi salam. Business dealings are critical. Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, the honest businessman will be like this with me in Jannah. The famous hadith? Why? To be honest in business is hard. It's very hard. To say, take it for $20, man. I only paid $15 for it. Liar. Why must you sell your actual essence for what? For a tour. You've sold your soul for a rent sometimes. I know we all do it. That's why we all even sometimes it slips out. Sometimes it happens, You're really trying, you're really giving a guy a good deal and this guy don't want to listen now. You have to shut him up. So you just have to, but it's wrong. A lie is a lie, right? This type of dealing of, we have to be honest, true in our speech. The mark of belief, of iman, is sidq. Sidq, what is sidq? To be true in your words. And those who deal in all this type of things, crushing fire.
So tax avoidance is haram.
I'll give you my 2 cents on it after you serve off this thing. Anyway, no, it just...